Okay,
That's
so my name is Georgia and this is Cara, and as Cara said, we are on the school improvement team, so our background is teachers, is as teachers, and as a team we decided that we really did need a web presence. Previously we didn't actually have anything, I don't think, on the web apart from one tiny page on the Southwark website, which is an enormous thing, so we were very, very difficult to find. So we made a decision that actually we needed to have our own site where people could find information about us, essentially. So prior to that, we've been communicating with schools pretty much by email and face-to-face. That was how we were doing it, which is very unreliable, essentially because we have a big turnover of staff in our schools, and emails get lost, and things happen. So information wasn't really getting to where we needed it to be as quickly as it could. So we decided on a website. That's where we got to. So we wanted it to be relevant, up to date, and really easy to access for people, because if you've ever been in a school, people do not have the time to do things. Take a long time to find information. They need to be able to do it quickly and easily and find what they need straight away so they can move on to the next job. And also from our point of view as advisors as well, we wanted to be able to make sure that it was easy for us to get information up online and do that quickly so it can get to where it needs to be fast. So one of the benefits to our schools was, as I say, easily accessible up-to-date information. It was basically an online network as well for schools, because prior to that they didn't really have anywhere that they could all go and sort of find that information together. We wanted it to be something that people accessed regularly. It wasn't just a static thing, and it had newsletters, it had information that was relevant and that they needed then and there. We also, because of the nature of our service, have been moving into a part traded service. So we also wanted an area or some flexibility of being able to sell our services online, promote what we were doing, and also for people to access that. And it's also a way of raising the profile of our team, the work that we do. If you were new to Southwark as a head teacher, where could you find out information about how to get support? So we wanted it to be that, and also as a way of promoting Southwark for teachers. Come and work in the borough, we really want you. Recruitment and retention is a very big issue for us, and so we wanted it to be somewhere that people logged onto and thought, wow, this is a place I want to work, because look at all the help and support that you can get here. Because of the nature of our team, we have lots of different areas. So Cara deals with newly qualified teachers. We also have a leadership and management section, support staff. I'm early years foundation stage, so I work with teachers in the early years. We also have special educational needs, which is a big thing for us, and also school government. So there was lots of different areas of the website that we needed. And this is what we came up with, essentially, as a way for people to find exactly the bit of information they needed as quickly as possible.
You click in. So we actually used Weblabs because of the council website, and obviously we don't have any background in IT whatsoever, but we knew what our users wanted. So we wanted something sort of quite funky, really, but then looking at Alexa, probably not ours as funky as we thought it was going to be. But we did want the opportunity for it to be a two-way process. The council website was a one-way process. You got information, you took it off, and that was it. And we actually wanted schools to engage with the website. We wanted them to be able to communicate backwards and forwards to us. We wanted them an opportunity to share and showcase what they're doing. So we wanted the ability to display statistics, present information beautifully, not just through text, but through pictures and images, and statistics through images rather than just Excel sheets. We wanted to make that information accessible. And so really this was our long list that we presented to Weblabs, and I'm not a salesperson. Has anybody used Weblabs? Has anybody used Weblabs before? No. So exactly, I was coming into this, didn't know what to expect. Actually, it was the best experience of working with someone externally to the council that we've ever had. We sort of had our long list, all of it which was sort of on many pieces of paper, with an ideal, and somehow the team filtered all of that, organised it, and produced something that was actually I think, very special, and we'll show it to you in a minute. And we're very proud of it, and we thank them for that, actually, and they didn't pay me to say that.
Supper tonight's going to be great.
But I think again it was important, following up that point, is because we this is not our day job. So you know, we know our own business, but we don't know how to transfer that onto the web. So that's really where Weblabs have come in and helped us, because as Cara said, we had lots of bits of ideas, lots of bits of paper. But we knew there was a lot of potential with that. We have a lot of users actually, so it's within schools there's lots of different people in there. It's not just teachers, there's a whole group of staff who really needed information from us. So it included all of our schools in Southwark, so that's nursery schools, special schools, primary schools, secondary schools, and the teaching staff within that, but it also includes people like the business support staff and governors who work within the schools as well, all really key people who help schools to function, who we needed to communicate with. Another element that we've just recently added is that we also have for early years a section of the community called Private Voluntary Independent Sector, and they've also come onto our website, so we've suddenly almost doubled, I think, the amount of users who will be looking at the site and accessing that information that way. And also there's a possibility of obviously other people looking at the information that we have on there and parts of our site are open for that, so that's other LAs, other boroughs. So we have, I can't tell you numbers exactly how many users we have, but that is growing every day, and the more we add to it and the more we update and make sure that it's really relevant to people, the more people come on board and find it a useful place to find information.
And the one thing I'd say about that, it was almost the council weren't considering these people on the main site as users. So actually the main council website was all about the residents and people engaging it from a resident perspective. They were missing all of these people engaging with council services. And so what was really important was we needed to make this far more accessible to the people rather than using the full council website.
And as Cara said, it's a two-way process. It isn't just about information gathering for them, it's actually a way for them to communicate with us and for us to get stuff up there that they really need as well.
So the design and development process with Weblabs was probably more painful for Weblabs than it was for us. We're very quite straight talking to being teachers, and we're highly critical as teachers actually. And we got sent lots of emails at the design stage, and Nick's probably laughing hysterically internally, because we would get lots of designs, we'd sort of comment on them, and they were really responsive, you know, in terms of down to very minute detail, you know, can we have grey as a background colour than white? As an example on page 4, this is how picky in terms of the processes of the process, but also the design phase, and every phase was sort of responded to really rapidly, really quickly, and also sort of problem solving, the idea that we had several layers to get through in terms of process and operations, and that was all worked through. And the sort of, when we were looking at this, really the three key things about working with you guys are that you were really responsive and solution focused. Nothing was too big of a problem. Every time we said, well, we want to do electronic payments, we want to add credits to our, we'll show you all this in a minute. Can we do this? Can we do that? It was a solution. There was always a solution to it. And it was always a very quick turnaround actually. They were often quicker than we were. And really sensitive to our needs about what we wanted. The nuances of our service and understanding our service actually. It wasn't just a technological process. It was actually very sensitive to the people that were being engaged, so the users and how they, you know, had time limitations to these things, and so forth. Multiple clicks weren't appropriate. And it really wasn't something off the shelf, it was bespoke, and that's really down to the success of it. And I think the biggest thing was the great communication and how easy you make it appear. It's rather complicated, but we learned a great deal throughout it because of how well you communicated it to us, really.
One of the key things was that we wanted the design to be right. It's very important for us because we didn't want to give a traditional image of education, and getting that right in the first place was really helpful for us. And then and Weblabs obviously then really supporting us to get all the functionality in there once we made it look the way we wanted it to look, which was really, really very helpful. So our feedback from users so far has been very, very positive. We've still got some way to go. We've still got areas of development, but schools say it's helpful, it's easy to use, it shows a more joined up service, it's up to date, it's great information, and it's easy to navigate, which is very, very important. We have formed a website strategic board because, as I mentioned, we have lots of different areas on the site, and the people who have been able to have liked the site mainly because it's autonomous. They're able to upload their own information, sort it all out, set things out in the way that they want, which is fantastic, which has enabled us to make sure that there is things up on the site rather than it coming through just certain people, and it's been very helpful for them to be able to promote their services. And it's easy to use. We haven't had to do an awful lot of training for people because it's actually a very intuitive site. You can get on it and pretty quickly you can put together a page and put links on there. So it's very easy for people. So lots of different people being able to access and use it.
Some of our interesting outcomes were we thought e-payments were the way to go, particularly for our transactions. And we quickly realised that not every school had a credit card. And actually, what was interesting about that was actually as a procurement exercise, they weren't always obtaining best value as a result of not having credit cards. So the services actually prompted them to go down the route of procuring credit cards and using that as a method of payment. We're still not there with some schools, but actually the majority of them have now got credit cards, and that's a really positive thing. We're also shifting culture in terms of autonomy of booking. Schools said they wanted to hold on to that process of manually filling out forms, and actually what we've done with our website, we've encouraged users in schools to be able to book independently courses, and that's verified at a senior management stage level. However, schools and heads sometimes do feel like it's a bit like letting go, but we still reassure them they do have the final click. Also being organised enough to book ahead of time. That's always a challenge for anybody. And the paying up front was a bit of a shift in culture, but I think as local authorities, you sitting here, paying up front is always better than actually what we're doing in the past was invoicing, and we'd end up with debtors lists. And that then caused huge administrative processes. And I don't know about your councils, but actually you can't chase schools for debts, so you just lose them. So it's it's definitely helped that side of things. Also refunds were an issue because obviously it's a new process, so that we had to learn a little bit more about how we issue refunds if they're paying electronically. And we're still working on payment to individual cost centres, so that's important. But what's really interesting is we've had loads of interest from other children and adults. So actually everybody wants to now piggyback on this website, so they're saying, can we have an area? Can we be involved? And so actually we're now thinking about how it's growing and really thinking about how we're working with comms to provide that joined up approach.
So moving forward, we've got bigger plans for the site, so it's new for you guys, but we're going to make it bigger. So we want to include a recruitment and retention part on the site, so we're looking to be able to, the teachers to be able to access jobs and see jobs online, our site. We're also looking at how we can really manage the demand from other departments, because it's such an easy website, because people have really been using it, lots more people, as Cara mentioned, want to come on board, so we need to look at how we're managing that. Also developing our own media skills about how we market and promote and use it to its full effect, because we're not there yet, mainly because it isn't a day job and we're out in schools a lot of the time, but we need to build some of that capacity, and as that sustainability and capacity is really critical for us moving forward, because one of the things we've recognised is that somebody needs to be doing this regularly to make sure that you use it properly, to make sure it's fresh, it's not a static thing. So that's something we need to look into. We're also looking into our images and our pictures. That's caused quite a lot of conversation around how we promote ourselves through image. And not enough space to house the interest.
Yeah, so we've got lots of departments who want
that's it,
another
yeah.
ball.
Another ball, yeah. So again, yeah, lots of people want to come on it, so it's doing that. Sorry, Nathan, we're just going to show the test site so that you could have.
You've lost the PowerPoint, haven't you?
Yeah.
It's right, that was over. We're done now.
We've done that.
Oh, fine.
Moving on.
You're still on the PowerPoint, we've moved on.
Yeah.
This is the bit where it gets scary, my hand gets shaky, because I'm actually now trying to log on. So Sarah, feel free to come and save me at any point.
It's connected, all right.
Is it connected to the internet?
We'll find
We'll
out.
just find out.
Use it,
won't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be, yeah.
So yes?
Yes.
Try it.
Okay.
All's well in the world because Auntie's pictured the deck.
Oh, that's nice.
No.
Oh, is it working?
Top 3 romances.
Oh no, this is the old. This is the old. So this is our website.
Yeah.
I can't show the current one because of data protection.
Stretch power projector.
Yeah. So these are our areas, and then each of the area. If I show you which one's open. Let's go with this one. And then we have leads for each of the areas, and then we've got the CPD module on the front. This is a really odd computer.
That's not nice, is it?
So these are the CPD, our CPD that we sell, and also, and this is the information, and behind those are information for schools in all those areas. So it's a wealth of information that you get as a school in Southwark.
The professional development is very critical to us because it's income generating, and as I mentioned, as being a traded service, we need to be bringing in money now. So having that on the website is much easier for us because we can bring that in beforehand, and we have it's a much easier process to manage. And one of the, because we've only got a very small team, one of the aims as well was to ensure that there wasn't a lot of admin involved. So I'm going to look at the test site now so that you can see the back end of it. Again, because this is not our expertise, how the back end was set up was really critical for us because it needed to be easy and easy and quick to do.
And as you can see, it's all based on the bridge.
Yeah. Which is very simple. So, I mean, in terms of using it, not.
We know what you meant.
We'll get back on.
This will be the fun bit now.
Tablots.
Yeah. It's when people are looking at you, you suddenly can't use the inability to spell, speak in sentences, and actually do things that you can like breathe. So this is the back end of the website. We'll just show you quickly where the users are. So here, under users, website users, and view, we ask all users of our website to register. And for us that's important because we collect information, which I'm sure GDPR has sort of raised questions about, but the information form that we ask them to gather for us are about what their positions in school is and what information they'd like with regards to the information that we hold on the website. And that's particularly useful going forward because we want to direct mail to them. And that's really helpful. And it also means that we also get an opportunity to filter who's got access to the whole of the website. So as a traded service, we can see that Grange School down the road has walked in, and yes, they can have access. Or X School, the other, can only have limited access because they haven't walked in. George, I don't know if you want to talk about the disabled users.
Yeah. So when our the process of registration is very easy. People register on the site. It comes through to us. We have a section where the people who have their accounts haven't been enabled appears, and then we just go through. And because of the information that we've requested, it's enabled us to find out who they are, whether their request is legitimate, and then we can direct them in the right place, and we make sure that they get the information that they request or that they need. And that's a process that takes no time at all. So our turnover, we get a handful of requests every day, and those are really easy to manage and to ensure that people get access really, really quickly. And then they get an email to say you're on, and they can get access to the information that they want. So that's been a very, very simple process. But again, giving us real information about who they are and where they're coming from.
Matt, you can see we've disabled your access. just a bit of an aside. Also, we talked about courses. The courses was the second phase to this. So the first phase was just to build sort of the website and have the information. The second phase we worked with Weblabs on was actually to have the courses in the same place. Because a bit like you were talking about earlier, lots of things weren't joined up. We wanted to make sure it was all housed together. So we decided to put our CPD module into the website, and that was a really good move actually for us. And I think it's really nice and simple as well. We really like how easy it is. So if you go to, just really quickly, advanced and then courses, and I'll just show you, I won't show you how to add courses, but view some of the courses. We've got here, it's really nice because it tells you when the course is happening. You've got a sense of how often it's scheduled for. So before we had to add several of the same courses duplicated over the same time, whereas actually now we've got a schedule so we can replicate that without having to change the information. We've also got a waiting list for people who it's already booked, but that's really helpful. And if I just show you here, it's got a really easy way of navigating where it sits on the website, and we found that really, really useful, and to categorise it all. And we had, you know, in terms of the sort of skills of our team, none of our team really have an IT background, but the CPD that was needed in order to help them use it actually was fairly minimal. They didn't need a huge amount of professional development in order to be able to use this website because it was so intuitive in terms of the process.
Just say on the website that the back end is fully responsive, so work on a mobile or any device. So it's one of the few systems that you ever see that the back end is fully responsive as well.
So this is what it looks like on the back end, and if you want to have a look at what it would look like on the website itself, the course, once you've entered all those details, looks like this.
What it enables us to do is, previously we would have printed off booklets with all of this information in, and of course the minute you print something it goes out of date, whereas actually we can keep this updated and make if venues change or trainers change, and that enables us as well to communicate with the people who've already booked on the course to say there's been a change. So they're fully updated, which is fantastic, so that helps us an awful lot. And again, all the information they need is there, so when they're making a decision to book, it's all there, they can see where it is, and how
You want
much
to log
it
out
will
your,
be.
if you're doing the front end, you're doing the front end.
You don't trust me, do you?
Out.
Be funny if I do. We've got it covered, I promise. It's that easy to use, we're all right.
We're happy.
You do remember teachers, and they tend to tell you off quite a lot.
Yes, that's us. We'll stick you in the corner if you're not careful. The one thing I would say is, so what we're doing now is we're just logging in as, say if you're a member of staff. Now what we're logging in as John Smith, and John Smith in this school has got sort of senior leadership level, so can, how we talked about earlier, the idea is they can confirm the course bookings. So if I show you really quickly, and I promise this is the last bit. So here, this is what our schools see, and what was great with this was now the website becomes a two-way thing. So as a school, you have got access to the whole of your school staff. You've got access to how much you're spending on CPD. Now that's really important because when Ofsted come in, they want to know what professional development has your staff had and what's the impact been. How much have you spent and what's the impact? And what this website will do is pull that information up really quickly. You can say to Ofsted, I've spent X amount of CPD and this has been the impact. And also, the next phase, we ask for credits because with our SLA, our service level agreement, we said that they would get so many free credits. And so this is sort of the new tool, so they can either pay with their credit cards or they can pay with their credits that they've got attached to their service level agreement. So as John Smith, as a member of staff, someone has booked on a course. If you go to courses pending, these are courses that maybe a member of staff has booked on. This is how long I've got left to pay for it. This is the title of the course, and I can click on it and find out what type of course it is, whether it's suitable for this person to go on it, and I can reject, I can pay, or I can pay with my credits. And if we just go to, there you go, it's been successfully processed, And then really nicely, they've got a list of courses confirmed. I'm here too.
So for the school, it's really, really easy to manage because they have an overview, they can see what's coming in, what they're going to reject, what they don't want. For us as well, that's all automated, so all we have to worry about is when the course has been paid for. Prior to that, everything else is taken care of until they do that, and then we can print off and make sure our resources are ready in time for the course. So it's very easy for both sides.
We think we've sort of shown you the highlights. We didn't think it was a session on how to, but we think they're some of the highlights that we've got. Has anybody got any questions? Just sympathy questions will do.
Money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
General?
For you guys, as part of the school improvement service, I presume you have to
Generate income.
and make sure that your trade service is making money. Is there a readout of what you're generating from this as well?
It's a very good question.
Yeah, there is.
Yes.
So it goes through secure payment.
Can you show?
Yeah. We've yet to do that. Our traded service just started at the beginning of April, so we're not very far into it yet, but yes, we can get access via our secure system and it will give us a printout of everything or an indication of everything that's come through so we can see that. We've still got a little bit of sorting out to do to make sure that goes into the right directions, into the right pots, but it's all there. So, and because we know people are using it, we know quite a lot is being generated through the website.
One thing was with payment, really large payments, they couldn't cope with. So our SLAs in terms of thousands of pounds, probably isn't large for some of you probably do with calculator, but as in say £10,000 credit card payments, we just can't do those, and that was a challenge that we've got, that we can't process those electronically, we have to do those through the usual invoicing.
How long does it take to deliver?
What to deliver the call?
Website.
Oh, this website. We started. It's interesting you said that because less than a year for the first phase, and then less than a year for the second. Now we thought the second phase was going to be. It was far more complicated, wasn't it? And I look at Sarah because it really had to be sort of bespokely.
That's what it replaced. You should have seen that.
It was, and actually the turnaround's really fair. It's as quick as we also had time to. So some of the hold up was because we then didn't have time to sort of go back and check with comms and our process, our end. But I think it could have been as quick as six months if we'd have had purely focused on it, I think.
Yeah.
In terms of where you were, where you are now, what sort of productivity levels are you currently at? Because you've managed to get it online and you're not relying on manual processes anymore.
We're doing more work because we've got capacity to do more work, so it gets filled with something else, which I suppose is a good thing. It means that we've had to change our structures actually as a result. So our business support team are now not just, they were doing a lot of the CPD processing manually. They're now not doing that, and the website's doing that. So actually what we've now been able to create are our business support team, they're sort of advisors, and they're building relationships with schools and spending a lot more time on that, sort of what do you need, how can we help you, rather than just processing paperwork at the back end. So that's really nice that they can start building relationships with the schools rather than focusing on a process.
And they've been a really important part of our team, and it's enabled us to give them other opportunities as well, so it's really developing them. So that's what it's done for our side, so our service is much better as a result.
Have you been able to report on those productivity levels, like some sort of data to show that your productivity has increased prior to having this and post having this?
I think we've got course uptake and course numbers, so we've got those sorts of details. We've got, it's really, you've got to be really careful about productivity, because what does it actually mean? Does it mean that there's lots of people coming on courses? Well, for us that isn't important. It's about what they're doing with that course when they get back to school, because we're all about school improvement. So the sense of actually whatever we deliver should be about how that then goes and improves opportunities for pupils who are going to school in Southwark. So actually productivity, yes, we've increased engagement, we've increased our connectivity to schools that actually sometimes we don't have as much to deal with because they're not on our radar. This has helped access, accessibility in that sense, but it's not it's not as clear cut as this X amount of bins being collected, or we have, with education it is about the impact, and really it is about those pupils having a better quality education at the end of it.
Also, can I just flesh that one out a bit more? You have more schools with outstanding Ofsted reports.
What, directly
Well,
linking the
do you use
website?
the
That is a loop, come on.
Oh, you just made the argument, but it's not about numbers.
Yeah.
But it's about school improvement.
Yeah.
So you're either going to measure that through the increase in the number of pupils getting better results,
Yeah.
or another measure.
You've got to be really careful because you're going down a very sole measure there. What I'm talking about is a triangulation of that data.
Okay, so balance
So the sense of, yes, you're looking at Ofsted inspections, it's longer term outcome, but you're also looking at how many users are coming on the courses, are the right people coming on the courses, what's as a result of that going into schools, do you see an improvement with reading as a result of attendance at reading courses? So it's about a triangulation of that information rather than an oversimplification of an end product. So that's really important.
So have you seen that?
So we're only in the second year of that, and now we're looking about how do we triangulate that in a way that we can present that.
No, no problem.
And one of the things it enables us to do, because we've had to look over our entire service when developing this site, it's made us sort of look at our service and how it currently functions, and it's making us change what we do to make sure actually we are having the kind of impact on schools that we want. So we are working differently, but the outcome of that is yet to come, I think, because it's constantly changing at the moment. So.
If we talk about one of the measures as collaboration, we just set up a partnership board with over 30 members, and over 30 head teachers from a range of schools in Southwark, and that's really the next phase of this. So engagement is our first measure, but yes, you're right, longer term it will be about impact, and Ofsted is one measure.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Cara and Georgia. I think that deserves a round of applause.